Alrighty, and the streak continues. Haven't got through a single video today in one shot. Somebody called me and it always interrupts my videos. So welcome to part 2 here. So I completely forgot where I was as far as my little spiel there, but anyways, we're obviously inside the house. So again, we're just, today is what we call our dry day. So we're really just waiting on all of these mud beds to dry up. You can kind of see it's a little bit wet there still. So we want that to dry before we actually come in and sand it. So I presume Monday we're gonna be ready for sanding. We're gonna come in, sand all the seams down so everything is nice and smooth and ready for rough paint. But before we get to rough paint, we actually start cabinet installs. So the house will get a nice little rough clean done to it before we start the cabinet installs. Once we get the cabinets installed, that tells us we're ready for rough paint. Rough paint is another 5-day process for us. So I imagine here over the next couple of weeks, by the end of week 2, we're gonna have rough paint complete, and then that gives us the green light for fit to finish, where all of the trim work gets done, all the electrical fixtures get done, all of the hardwoods, all the plumbing fixtures, and that's when it gets extremely chaotic in here. So that's what I always tell my homeowners is my least favorite part of the build time is fit to finish, just because it gets pretty chaotic. Everything looks nice and pretty right before we go into it, and then you get 2 or 3 trades in here in 1 week over the top of each other. It gets a little chaotic. So just kind of giving you guys a quick little grand tour of the house here. The one inspection that your guys' house is going to go through relatively soon is what we call the permanent service inspection. That's where the inspector comes out just to make sure that the house is safe to release power to all of the outlets. So we'll take that meter that's out there on the temporary service pole, and we'll take that meter and stick it onto the side of the house and run power to the house so they can start plugging stuff into the interior of the house rather than having to use that temporary service pole out there. Usually a pretty easy one to get through. I know you said you were going to be here this weekend, of course. If you have any questions, comments, concerns while you're walking through the house, obviously I want to know if there's any major concerns that you have. Feel free to shoot me a text, call me, email me, and I'll definitely get back to you as soon as I can. I'm in the laundry room right now, headed through the walk-in closet into the master bath. Little tidbit of information here inside the master bath. So you got a different type of sheetrock in here. This is moisture resistant, mold resistant, mildew resistant sheetrock. They call it green board. A little bit different from the rest of the sheetrock in the house, as you can tell. So you'll find this in wet areas of the home like a tile shower surround. The reason we do that is because your grout is going to be non-sealed grout, so that gives moisture an avenue to get behind the tile. And then you're also going to have a Kerdi membrane that goes over the top of this to create another waterproof layer or a water-resistant layer of added protection so that water does not get to the actual sheetrock. But this is your last line of defense in case water does get behind the Kerdi membrane. So there's a few things that I look for here. So if you haven't noticed, it's kind of hard to tell now. I might be able to find one. But the type of screws that we're using for all of your standard sheetrock are these guys right here. I'll try to focus on that a little bit. But this is a black screw right here. That's what we use for all of the sheetrock throughout the entire house, other than wet areas like this. In wet areas, you will see galvanized screws. All that means it's a moisture resistant screw, will not rust. So I want to make sure that they're using the right type of screws in the shower, and they definitely did a good job there. I also check their screw pattern to make sure that the screws aren't spaced out too far. I typically look for an 8-inch spread from screw to screw. I can tell that the studs here are 16 inches on center, which is great news. It's going to be plenty enough meat there to hold up that tile wall. And again, their screw pattern is near perfect here, so I've got no issues with the sheetrock install here. And we got the master bedroom. Things are going pretty smooth here so far, right on schedule. I've got no major concerns here right now. Usually all my headaches start typically in the fit to finish portion of the house. Anyways, again, that's a little 360 of the house here. Again, if you guys have any questions over the weekend, feel free to reach out to me and I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you guys have an excellent weekend and I will see you on the next update.